Welcome to the home of good news. Yes, indeed, it is Stories Untold. I am Pule Mulebati, and thank you for tuning in. This is actually the only platform that reflects lives of ordinary South Africans with extraordinary tales. On that note, we'd like to invite you to partake in this exciting project that we are embarking on as a show. Over the years, you've reached out to us requesting to be featured on the show. Sometimes you were successful and some of you were not able to be part of the show. This is definitely the time to give each and every one of you an opportunity to share the incredible work that you do as individuals, as groups in your communities. Anyhow you are giving back. It's simple. All you have to do is share a 10-second video of yourself telling us about the work that you do. You simply have to tag us on Facebook at Stories Untold and on Twitter at Stories Untold TV. And we guarantee you we will be playing all those videos right here on the show. On that exciting note, let's continue with our show. We introduce you to founder of Young Men Movement, Cabello Chavala. He grew up without a father, and that pain has turned out into something very beautiful and magical, as he is a role model to kids who are growing up without fathers in many different ways. Let's go straight into it.
From meeting President Barack Obama to becoming one of South Africa's top 100 influential youth and being awarded the Community Builder of the Year. One can't begin to imagine that all of this started with a boy who wanted to cover the pain and the void of not having a present father.
Cabello Chavala is a young man who grew up in a village called Pankop. And a lot of people don't even know where that is, because in most cases you can't really identify it with anything but whatever that we are all trying to do and getting that place out there. A young man who grew up without his father and questioned himself what kind of a child was he that his father had to not be a part of his life. My cousins, who were my peers, all of them had somebody they called dad. And I always ask myself, like, okay, fine, Lawrence will say dad, Donald will say dad, Bongani will say dad, and I'm sitting here always not having somebody that I can actually associate with that. Yes, my grandfather is there, but he's our grandfather. We all belong to him, but these ones are their dads. They can always run to that. So quickly, that's when I realized, I was 4 or 5 preschool, when I picked up that something is just not right. I had to find ways to cover this pain and make sure that nobody gets to talk about these things. So I was very competitive in primary. I sang, and I can't sing really, but I would also play in the athletics team. I ended up being the captain of our soccer team at Popolo Primary School. But all these things, I was doing them because when you meet me as a person, I wanted you to have something to talk about that is not a reflection of my pain. For example, the first quarter at school will be about athletics. I'm participating in number 1. You will want to talk about that. I'm a leader. You would want to talk about that. So if we are to spend 10 to 20 minutes, we will talk about all these other great things, except for touching on the things that pain me.
He was the captain of the soccer team. He was an athlete as well. Played soccer. Sprinted. A great runner. You know, teachers had to move around with his birth certificate because other schools thought we were cheating because he was such a giant. They thought we were making him compete with the under. They thought he was above the age. I think on my second day at that school, I already knew there is a boy called Kabelo, because he was so conspicuous. I mean, in stature and in character, so to say, because a very tall boy who overlooked all the children during his time, a friend to everybody, a friend to the teachers, a friend to his peers. You know, he gained so much popularity as if he wasn't a child. And at first, I couldn't even realize that he was raised by a single parent.
There was a great appreciation for my mom because she stuck it out and she's always been there for me. So that is a bit of a background, but that was around 10, 11. And then I realized that I had to find ways to cover this pain and make sure that nobody gets to talk about these things. I started asking her questions about, but what happened to Dad? No, he left when you were 4, 5 without differences. I'm like, okay, that's okay. But do you know how this has painted me? Started, painting the picture. And I realized that I was a mommy's boy from an early age. Never really got to reflect on much on how my dad's absence has just hit on me.
Tlasa khudiso ya ntate wa ka. Akere ke ena tshamekileng father figure mo ye. Hence ke mo hodisa hence ho tla akere wa bona ha ho tla Christmas. O tla bona batho ba feta ka di plastic, ba bang ba tshwere diaparo, ba bang ba tshwere dijo. So kre wena dilo tse o sa khone dira. Ho nna botlhoko mo wena ho lebella ngwana hore tjo ba le bo ikhatla bo ithabela ntho e so le so wena ho lebella ngwana ha ona ntho e ithabela wa bona dilo tsa mofuto.
And then later on in life, which is a story that ties to how I became different, I was asked when I got to the Star to write a piece, an opinion piece by one of my mentors, Brendan Siri, and the topic was the absence of my father. And I penned down one of the most hurtful pieces. I wrote it the first time, it went for editing, he took it back and he said, I don't think you've written I think the 4th edition of that same piece, I cried when I realized that this thing has actually taken a toll on me all my life. Then I started looking back at my community to say, but I'm no different. But what happens with the other boys my age and younger who do not have fathers? Then I realized then that, okay, fine, there are patterns. They either go and abuse substances. Some of them were teenage dads, but already they're neglecting their kids, which is something that even hurt me to say that, but Haibo, guys, now we are becoming the same generation like that of my dad, where we are repeating the same mistakes. We become fathers, we leave the kids, and then we move on with our lives. And I thought to myself, somebody has to do something with this. And maybe the absence of my dad was an opportunity for me to know and understand the pain so that I can go back to the same community and do something about this problem.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with Stories Untold. In the first segment of our show, we introduced you to Cabello Chavala and the work that he does. More than anything, it was about the reason he does what he does. Right now, though, it's important that we get straight into the business of his philanthropic work and meet the beneficiaries that are part of this incredible project.
I then decided that I'm going to put together an idea to say Young Men Movement. And this movement is about empowering other boys to have a space where they can talk about their pain, but equally, should they become fathers later on in life, they will understand that pain and not repeat the mistakes of our fathers.
Nearly 2016. Utlile go nna kwa la re mma ke re a re ke khopela o re irele bohobe le shebo a re le o ka se tsolele mo di-plating wa tshela bohobe ka mo wa tshela seshebo ka mo ka re di ya kae a re ko ja le bafana ba le ba leng kontle ba le he ba fetsa a re wa itse bafana ba le ke nyaka gore ke ba ntshe ko strateng ke nyaka go thoma ntho e ba reng ke Young Men Movement, and then ke tla ke ba rute cause ba bang ba hola ba nna ka nna ha bana bontate gore ke ba botse gore ba tle ba tlhalwanye gore le ho sena ntate ho na le maikemisetso mo bophelong o ka kgona ho phela.
Kabelo's family immediately fell in love with his idea, and they were on board to lend a helping hand in making sure that his sessions are successful every week.
Bashimane ba YMM ke nna ke ba piela le mama Kabelo he ba tsena ba mpona fela ba re hey se se komotso teng rota today ro piela jutse di monate. Oh, today ke tle ho prepare la bana julo tsa bona for tsa bona tsa YMM ra fiela garage, let's go to the garage, re fielle bana garage, a re lokiseng ditilo.
Soon, Kabelo's work stretched beyond just the boys who met at his garage every Saturday. Schools and the community at large began to benefit from this young man who is on a clear mission to change the world one person at a time. We met with the principal of one of the schools that are beneficiaries of Kabelo's selfless work.
I saw Kabelo on a national TV. He was giving an interview, and he gave a background that he is coming from the area called Pankop. Like, I'm staying in the area Mametlake. Now, I felt that the things that he was dispensing on the television, it was about helping young men, it was about helping community, and I realized that this is the person that I must associate myself with. Given that I'm located in an area where there are serious challenges. Majority of learners in our area, they come from families where there are no fathers.
Kabelo, we worked on the spelling bee competition. It was held in 2018. In 2018 again, we did the covering of books, because when he was here doing the spelling bee, he saw that some of the learners didn't cover their books. So he came up with the initiative to cover learners' books in 2018. Then we did that. We involved parents. They came to the school. He brought lunch. He brought the covers, the sellotapes, the scissors also. Everything was brought by him. We only put in the hands the efforts to assist in the adventure.
Mutusi has been a part of YMM for 5 years now. Him and his mom only sing praises of what this initiative has done for them.
My son started a young men movement. It's a grade 6. First session, I attended ile kaya ka ba isa ka muisa ko yona ka checka hore ho irahala eng ka lebella hore ba batla eng ho irahala eng ke ile ka bona ile sekolo se leng hore se tla tsweletsa ngwana mosola mo bophelong ba hae.
YMM, we talk about the feelings that as a how to express our emotions and the importance of mental health. They are the most important things because of on these days mo matsatsing ga jena banna ke bona ba abuse basadi lo tsona tseo. So our KB o findile a new way ya hore rena as re bashimane re create tsela ya hore re express via a group eleng hore is safe. It's like a safe circle around it. Currently in Kamola, it's Kamola, and Rekonovia more reconnaissance our more emotional sides of us. And again, to know good because we root a little reska bottle dilo up because of until ekao hovata mo you turn a bana banali depression. Maybe banali matata from Kwahai, dilo. Now I think about KB helped me a lot with to boost my confidence. I wasn't that much confident, but but confidence like seriously. I used to get teased because of nikinale meal. Yes, so since it's an YM grade 6 and middle school grade 7, couldn't to say gain more confidence. I must love myself before I get rataba. From my younger age.
Since I go YMM, ke lemohile hore o khona ho bolela le ba korela le ho o mmotsisa something se leng hore se wrong, like o mmotsisa ha sa bolela o haraba pila ha sana hore o haraba Allah ne le motho a ratang ho lla.
To all the parents ba leng hore maybe about these organizations they are bereka, I think my message to them go hore. They must give it a try because of ke bone ka nna ntho eo. Bana ba bashimana se hantši ba expressa di feelings tsa bona. Ba phela ka ntole ya hore indoda ikhali. Yes, ba sa phela mo that era. Ya hore indoda ikhali, and it's not asintwe bjao. Monna ko lla, monna ko bolela.
As we continue with the story of Cabello Chavala today, we'd like to bring your attention to the biggest challenges that societies face in South Africa, and that is fathers who are not present in their children's life. This has evolved over the years, carried through different generations, but it is this particular story that reminds us that if you become a role model for a child that's looking for a father figure, you might bring a world of good to that particular child. We continue with this story, and we hope that we inspire you to reach out to the person that might be looking for that particular role model in their lives.
Kabelo and his primary school friend, a co-mentor at YMM, took us on a tour of their former primary school and reminisced about their childhood at the same soccer grounds they played on as young primary school learners.
Me and Abud KB, we went to the same primary school, Popolo Primary, and he was always a leader. He was always a leader. We started looking up to him at an early age. Imagine, primary school, KB was always a leader. I guess that is why me and him clicked. I'll be lying if I say I saw it coming from my side. But then from his side, I saw it coming. Because like I said, he was always a leader. And he nurtured me in a way to be a better person. So today, me and him mentoring in the same organization, I didn't see it coming really. But then I remember was it 2015? Yes, it was in 2015. He told me what was his expectations. He wanted to change how a boy child sees and do things. So yeah. I mean, it's a dream. It's a dream. Trust me, it is. Mentoring young boys, changing lives, and making an impact in the community, indeed is a dream.
Kabelo's vision is clear and has been consistent since the launch of YMM in 2016. And he wants young men to learn and be open to the world around them.
I'm here. I'm not saying I have everything figured out. And I don't want you to say, if my dad was around, my life could have been better. I don't want you to use that as an excuse. And I often say to them, there's an expiry date to blaming your dad or your absent father for not being present in your life for the things that are not going right. So you must find it in yourself to find strength and ways to navigate this life without him. And perhaps in a world where a lot of fathers are abusive, it was a blessing in disguise that we don't even know what kind of men our fathers were, but we have an idea because they are the kind of men that didn't even want to be a part of our lives. So that shows us that they were not probably the best people to be a part of our lives or influence the kind of men that we are. So from talking about fatherlessness as something that we discussed from that second session going forward, and how that has impacted their lives, how they feel worthless, how they feel that maybe God doesn't love them. You understand the multiplicity of issues that you're dealing with. Somebody is questioning God, a creator, about why he doesn't have a father. Others are thinking that they're not worth anything beautiful in their lives. Others felt like the fact that their dad didn't want to be a part of their lives, it means that they are not worth even, continuing in this life, that nothing good will ever come out of their lives.
They are going through some stuff.
If you teach these boys that they should also be okay with being 17 and 18 and not having had sex, you will actually have more progressive young boys in your school than anything. So 2017, we started a hashtag Boys and Their Virginity campaign. And what that achieved for us was having young boys who even reached 19 and 20 without having had sex. And you realize that virginity is a concept that we only want girls to pursue and keep, as if it's more precious than boys' virginity. But if you tell the boys to say that wait until the right time,
Kabelo introduced us to his mentor.
With the concept each one teach one, right? One of the things that I've always loved about Mr. Moya is that he's not just there to help you shape your thinking, but also show you how far you can go. The importance of having a mentor is that people that have walked the journey will give you a better perspective of what you are going to go through. But because he also teaches principles rather than specifics, you know that the sun is gonna, rise from the east and then set on the west, and that will not change. And that's what I like about Mr. Moya. He teaches you things that govern a particular space, not necessarily that if you go left you're gonna hit, and then it's always about how he even lives those principles himself. And I've realized that if you want to really go far, especially as a mentor, you also need to have people that mentor you, so that we ask that question, who mentors the mentor, so that we know that there's somebody who holds me accountable, since the boys are people that account to me.
It is quite important that mentor-mentee relationships are not just about the older person learning from or teaching the younger person. It is a reciprocal relationship where you also learn from a younger person how they see the world, and how that also helps you see your own world. It is also an opportunity to ensure that the mistakes of your own youth are confined to you. They do not become multi-generational, that at least someone else can learn from your own errors and limit chances of making the same, so I think that's how I see the mentor-mentee relationship between myself and Kabelo.
The impact that we have made, we are starting to realize it. So never get tired. The tire is rolling. We are with you. Get the courage and go on.
Abutaka ke a leboga for ntong le ngwe nkiretseng yona. Ke a leboga thata, and I hope gore ntong le ngwe yo lokela mo bophelong ba hao. And thank you for the support le ngwe re file yona since ke re itsane ke tsena grade 6 ke sa le ngwana. No, I'm this young man because of your guidance. And ke a leboga, you are my mentor, ko rata thata buti. Kwena butaka mo bophelong ba ka ke na buti ke na le ngwana ko hae mara butaka ke mo tsaya eskweng. Love you.
And just like that, we've come to the end of the show. Remember, when we began our journey today, I introduced you to this great idea that we would like you to be part of. All you have to do, South Africa, is take a 10-second video of yourself, tag us on social media. Facebook, we are at Stories Untold, and on Twitter, we are at Stories Untold TV. Share the good work that you do. This is indeed the home of good news. So we'd love to share those stories with our viewers right here on Stories Untold. And we've come to the end of the show. Thank you so much to Kabelo and everybody else that has contributed to sharing that incredible stories. From myself, Pule Molebatsi, and the team that makes it all possible. Let's do this again, same time, same place.